Hello everyone, welcome to my first draw with me and my first voiceover video. So, because some of you have been asking me for like a voice reveal of sorts, so here it is. Well, a few weeks ago, I think jeonghan posted a little rock, his jeongdoll on Weverse with its own house in a little box. So I thought it'd be nice to draw. And I've also wanted to try out some of the different Procreate brushes, which have just been kind of just sitting there, even though they've been like provided for free once you download Procreate. So I'm gonna try those. And I also want to try like drawing an isometric kind of thing without using my my little like grid references. So that's why you can see me drawing the lines over here. And also, you may have noticed that this video is like Horan cat themed, because around a week ago I ran a quick poll on Twitter without much context. It was just something along the lines of, this is for a YouTube video, like do this poll, and it was like 4 different cats, and then Horan cat was one of them, and Horan cat won, I think by 1%. Also around a week ago, I put the little question thing on my Instagram asking like if you have any questions for me. So I'll just be answering them in this video while the speed paint is playing. Let's see. Which scene in the animation was the hardest or took the longest? For me, because I completed my animation in little chunks. Like I split them off into like scene 1, scene 2, etc. And as I progressed, the scenes got shorter because then I just used like the tweening things on vllo. So it makes my life slightly easier later on because I was under like more of a time crunch. So actually for me, in terms of animating, the very first scene where Adore You is playing and the little woozy cat is jumping around, that was the most painful to draw because I had to like take the choreo, catify it, and then afterwards draw it out and color in all that. So that was quite painful to do. But in terms of like perspectives and scenes and all that, the hit scene where like all the cats are standing on their little pillars, and then the words, like the hit sound zooms in, that one was also quite hard to draw because I had to like keep the perspective and stuff. But it was also slightly easier or less painful than the Adore You one, because I just reused the same cat on the pillar image and I just kind of twisted it to fit the frame, and also the hit sound, the words were referenced from the MV, so that was easier to do. So yeah, I think those 2 scenes were the most painful to draw. Oh, and also the very last scene where all the cats are in the little living room full of plants. That one was also hard to draw because I had to animate all 13 cats. So that one was it wasn't hard other than drawing the background out because I had to like reference it and draw it kind of realistically. But I only had to animate like 5 frames per cat, so that's like 5 times 13. Do the math. That's how many frames I had to like draw in color like on that particular animation, but it wasn't that long. So out of these 3 scenes, I would still say the Adore You one, even though it's really simple, that one took the longest because it was the most frames to draw and it was really repetitive, so I procrastinated on that one a lot. Not a question, but the way you draw cat is chef's kiss. Thank you. I'm glad people like it. Where did you get the idea to draw your cats? Ooh, this one is pretty interesting. So I think it was last year in October. It was like a school holiday or something, and me and my friend and my family, we traveled locally to a beachside. So we were on our way back from the beach back to where we live, right? So we were on the plane, and the plane was about to start landing. So I would say there's like 10-20 minutes left of the flight. And sitting next to me, my sister was like drawing on her iPad as well, and she was like drawing some like cats and some blobs as well. And it made me think of the cat blobs that I drew really long ago. I think I was 12, 11 with my group of friends back then. We were drawing like these things called long boys, and they look like rectangular cats. So my cats now are round, but back then they were really rectangular, and they also had like paws, so that means they had like hands and feet, but they were still like kind of rectangle. So I don't know how I drew the shape of these current cats, but it just kind of came to me like, oh, let's draw a head. I'm too lazy to draw the legs or whatever, so let's just make it like a stump. And then I drew one. That cat happened to be like Coop's cat, like the shape, at least the very first one. And then I was like, you know, let's just make 13 of these. And I don't know why I chose to draw 17 at first, because I think back then my alt group was NCT, but I did 17 anyway, so whatever came out from the top of my mind. I had the image of each member's emoji, so most of these designs are based off of that emoji. So I think Coop's was a flag, Jeonghan was an angel emoji, Josh was a deer. You get the idea, and it just went on. So I had that image, but the rest, like anything else, came from my mind. So I was like, okay, Josh, Sunday morning, let's give him a guitar. June, moon, and also like the little tag. I was like, oh, made in China, the tag. That's funny. Let's just put it in anyway. And then so within that span of 10 or 20 minutes when the plane was landing, I just drew them out. And this was like around like 8 p.m. and I was tired, so I don't know. I was like, let's just slap things on the canvas. And then when we landed, I just posted the picture, and it got like around 100 likes or so on Twitter. And I was like, oh, 100? 300? Around there. And it was the most likes I've gotten ever back then. So I was like, huh, people like these. I guess I should make it a series. So I just kept drawing more of them, and then more and more people started liking them. So I was like, you know, let's make this a thing. And they're also quite fun to draw and easily put in different backgrounds or locations. And they're like cute, so why not keep drawing them? So that's my cat origin story. And for the upside down question mark, I guess it's because they don't exactly look like cats. Like, some people have called them rabbits. Some people have called them like my parents, they call them creatures. My Chinese teacher calls them rabbits. So it's not exactly that they are cats, because some people can get confused about them. That's why I put the upside down question mark, because they can look like whatever you want. Because I think the Hechan cat that I drew looks like a tiny like poodoo or bear also. So they can be whatever you want them to be. How did you create your iconic fish cat style? Yeah, as I said, there were like the little long boy things that I made. I'll see if I can put a picture on the screen right now to show you how they look like way back then. But I guess it kind of derived from there. And also the natural cat shaped head. And also like being creative with the cat patterns, because they're not the traditional like calico or like stripes or Siamese or whatever normal cat design. They're just, you can put all sorts of shapes and colors on them. So be really creative with like the little blobs, and you can make your own little blob too. Nothing's stopping you. Hi, I love your art so much. Thank you. How did you get into art? I think from what I can remember, and my memory is not that good, ever since I was like small, so like around 3, the first thing I drew, my parents photographed, it was like a really ugly drawing of a Hello Kitty, because I was obsessed with Hello Kitty back then apparently. How I started? I mean, that's my like drawing origin story back when I was 3, but I don't think I started drawing seriously digitally until 2018, because that was when I first downloaded Medibang on my phone. And then shortly after, like doing finger drawing for like a few months, I think like 3 months, I finally got an iPad. So then I started drawing on that. So for digitally, I've only been drawing for 3 years, but like traditionally and all that, I've been drawing for a long time. Because back in primary school, in around like grade 3, my friend group really liked drawing. So one of them is their Twitter username is DoozyDan and their Instagram username is SnoozyDan. Back then, to me, they were like an art god. They still are an art god to me, because they're so, I feel like they're so underrated, because their art style is so unique and it's so like clean, and it's always been good. That's all you need to know. Their art style has always been good. And then another one, my other friend, she doesn't have like social media, and one of them is private, so I can't say it, but she's also really good at drawing. So I was inspired by them to start drawing. And so I remember back in like during class time or whatever, when the teacher was teaching, this isn't good, you shouldn't do this, but we did it anyway because we were like bad children and all that, but we still get okay grades. We'd have a little notebook, and we'd take turns like drawing a few panels of a comic and then pass it to the next person, and they continue the comic. So it's kind of like a, you know, like a word train game but with comics. So I don't know, that just made me want to make my art style even better so that we can make the comic even better. And we all like were nerds and all that, so we like draw anime style. We like, I don't know, it's the storyline was basically kind of those Wattpad kind of, I don't even know, but it was kind of cringy. If I look back and look at the actual book right now, I think I have one of them. We didn't do one, we did like so many, but I have one of the books. If I open it and I read it, oh, cringy. But that is my artist origin story. Making comics with friends during class when we're not supposed to. We're supposed to be taking notes and doing homework. Yeah, I think that's when I seriously started to like drawing. Yeah, but if we're asking about the cat origin story, like I mentioned, they were created in October last year. Yeah, I think it was last year, not 2 years ago. I don't know. Staying in quarantine and like COVID lockdown and all that has really ruined my sense of time. So that's great. Could you do more vlogs, please? Yes, making vlogs are actually quite fun. I think I've always liked making videos, like filming and editing. I don't know why I like editing, but editing is kind of fun. It's kind of cool to see how your videos all like come together, like all your like clips that you filmed, how they like come together and make them look nice and all that. I don't know, my sense of fun is very distorted. Like I do play one game, but I don't game as often as people do. Like I have Genshin Impact, but the only time I play is when my friends or my sister makes me play with them. So I can't keep up with games. I'm not good at that kind of thing, and I also like give up really easily when I game. So in conclusion, therefore, my sense of what is fun is quite distorted. How do you do color theory? I love your art. Thank you. I'm glad people like it. How do I do color theory? Honestly, I'm not the best person to ask about color theory. I'm really bad with colors. Usually when you look at my art, because I'm a carrot and all that, most of my art revolves around pastels, and specifically blue, purple, pink. Even before I was a carrot, I was obsessed with these colors because I always liked them and they kind of just fit my vibe or what I think is cool. But color theory, I guess refrain from putting complementary colors together, like blue and orange, red and green, yellow and purple. You can make them look really nice, especially if you like keep to pastels, but if they're quite saturated, refrain from putting them together, because for me personally, it's an eyesore and it just doesn't match. And some colors, even if they're not specifically like red or green, like if you do like pink and turquoise, well, pink and turquoise is fine actually, but if you put like orange and like turquoise, I guess it can still look nice, just it's more risky. I don't know. Sometimes when I'm drawing and I put two colors that don't exactly look right together, sometimes I take out the hue, saturation, brightness effects on Procreate and I just play with that until I'm satisfied with the color, or you just keep trial and error. So like you just keep trying different shades of the same color if you want to stick to that color palette, or use the hue, saturation, brightness function. That's my only suggestion I have, because most of my artworks, the coloring process, the line art process, the whole process is just trial and error. If it looks nice, okay, keep it. If it doesn't look nice, change it. Unless you're fine with it not looking nice. I don't really have a specific way of like choosing colors, but generally I go by the rules of don't put complementary colors together unless otherwise stated, or like exceptions, and play around with it. Like it's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be like, oh, you can only follow these rules. Art is meant to be like fun and do whatever you want. You're supposed to break the rules. In school right now, we're supposed to be analyzing art for like a course. If you IB kids know, AOK, like a part of a subsection of TOK, we're doing areas of knowledge, and our areas of knowledge is art. So we have to go around analyzing art. Like, what is art? How can you measure art? What are the ethical considerations of art? Anyway, that's giving me not good. That, and also I don't have a lot of good advice about color theory, so I guess those are the generals. And sorry for my little tangent. When did drawing the cat OCs become a thing? October last year. Could you draw the cats in their era outfits? Dressing them up would be cute. That's actually such a good idea. I could have just done that for their anniversary instead of making the little animation. But I think making the animation was still worth it. Like it was, even if not a lot of people see it. Like I'm not expecting a lot of people to see it, but it was a good experience to make, and it was a good experience for myself to practice animating, and also like to have the self-discipline to complete such a long-ish project, because I think I started this animation 2.5 weeks before I finished it, because I was gonna make a longer animation with humans instead of cats, so that was gonna take like doubly or triply long time. But I also, at that point, I had like a style crisis, and I was like, oh no, I can't draw humans. So I was like, okay, I'll use my last resort. I'll draw like my backup plan. I'll draw the cats as animation. And then I spontaneously got the idea to like kind of create a medley, so like one song after the other, chronological order. And so I was like, okay, I'll do that. So the night I thought of that idea, I went to record all the songs, like the sections. I went on iMovie because I'm bad at GarageBand and all that, and I'm bad at mixing music in general. I just went on there and I just cut it so that it would fit, and like slowed stuff down, sped stuff up. So that's why the songs may not sound like what you usually sound, like the beat, the tempo. It's a bit wonky, but it's to fit the animation and to like fit the order, I guess. So I did that on iMovie. I exported the MP3 into my iPad, put it in my flipper clip so that I could get the timing and the frames right. And I basically started that animation with the escape scene, like the ayo ayo. I started it that night, and then those 2.5 weeks, even though they were like packed with tests and exams and like I should be studying for those, I just kind of focused on my animation instead. I still got my studying in. I didn't study as much, so as you would think, as you would expect, I didn't do as well on my test, but you know, it's okay. It's like the end of the year, we're back virtual. I don't really want to care about that kind of stuff. So I did study. I still did relatively well, but my main, for those 2.5 weeks, it was also quite tiring on my part because I couldn't stop thinking about my animation. But I'm glad I finished it because it's such a long project. And I think we're reaching the end of this video, so I hope you like this jeonghan. It was quite fun to draw it without any like grid or anything, and it was also quite fun kind of organizing the little house with all the little things like the carrot bong, the little carrot mochi thing. I don't have a name for those yet. That small pink thing you see sitting on the piano. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully I'll make more videos like this in the future. Thank you. Bye bye. See you next time.